afternoon. I've managed to get rid of the P6s, so it's just me and you. Listen, don't be sweating this synoptic, okay? Take this evening and do whatever I tell you now about synoptic and do a wee bit of it tomorrow morning. Right, synoptic is going to be on controversy, division, or reconciliation, all right? And what you have to do in part A should only be about 15 minutes, all right? It's very short compared to part B. And you are going to write about something that I have not taught you in class, all right? So you can't mention stuff from Acts, you can't mention stuff from Paul's letters. If it asks about controversy, you can't talk about the controversies that were in Galatia or the controversies that were in Corinth. But you can mention this one thing, which is called the Judaizing controversy. We did talk about it in Galatians, but the bit that you're going to reference in this is Acts chapter 15, when Paul and Barnabas and Peter and James and John and the Judaizers all get together to try to discuss how Gentiles can be saved. So it's really the same argument that you've been hearing from Galatians about how Gentiles can become Christians. Of course, Paul's saying that they just need to believe in Jesus. The Judaizers are saying, well, they can believe in Jesus, but they also have to become Jews, kind of. And then Peter and James and John and the other guys give their opinion. It was the largest controversy that hit the first century church because lots of Gentiles were becoming Christians. And this is where it all focused itself. And in the end, they came to a decision and they said to Paul and Barnabas, look, you go and preach to the Gentiles and they can be saved by faith. All right. And all we want them to do is to try and just be generous and kind, really. All right. You look at my notes. And we're not going to add anything more to them. That was a big controversy. It was the biggest controversy which caused division within the church. And the way that he tried to reconcile it was by getting people together to talk about it. So whatever way the question comes up, you answer it that way. Okay, the greatest controversy that hit the first century church was the Judaizing controversy. We see this in Acts chapter 15. This caused great division within the church. In fact, in an effort to reconcile the two different groups, they came together in dialogue to discuss their issues. That's the point. Then you must make a link to Mrs. Shannon's course. And you must say something like this. Similarly, in my other area of study, the early church, we can see a similar issue dealing with controversy where in Justin's dialogue with Trypho. Trypho, would you ask Justin if he becomes a Christian, whether he could continue to keep kosher, which means eating kosher foods? And of course, Justin says, well, Christians are divided on this. Some people would say, yes, you can. Some people said, no, you can't. And I would say, yes, of course you can continue to keep kosher as long as you realise that that does not save you. Here we can see the link dealing with controversy and an opportunity to reconcile through dialogue in Justin's discussion with Trypho. That's all on the first page of this document. All right. Okay. Which you need to have a wee look over tonight. Remember, this is worth a third of the exam. Then the part B sort of question can cover a variety of different things. They've asked questions. If you just look through my notes and I've given you there, it covers all the sort of main areas of it. They've asked about the pluralist society that we live in. It says something, in pluralist society, religion needs to be more accepting of diversity. Well, a pluralist society is a society has lots and lots of different beliefs. Plural is many. And Christianity can seem really outdated. And therefore you have to think to yourself, in this wide society that we live in, where people have different beliefs and no beliefs, how can Christianity be more accepting and more understanding and more tolerant in issues like same-sex marriage, where often Christians come across as being really strict and against everything, or abortion, So have a wee look through there. Also, the word secular sometimes come up. You've done all this from Miss Shannon as well. Secular is just the world that we live in. Secular is a world that doesn't really believe in God anymore, and religion isn't really important. So, like, our government is a secular government. So they sometimes ask you about questions about morality. Secular morality is more progressive than religious morality. And you can have a wee look at my notes on that there. They sometimes ask you about sacred text. So, of course, the Bible's a sacred text, the Quran's a sacred text. And you can see from Islamic fundamentalism, and even through Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth over in America, you can use any scriptures or any texts to cause all sorts of chaos and wars, terrorism, all kinds of things. So yes, there are great benefits to religious texts which tell us to love and to be kind, to be forgiving, to love your neighbour, to don't take revenge, to turn the other cheek, to love everyone. There's all really positive things there. The Bible is very important for guiding people and instructing people and all of those different things. Calling people to be missionaries, calling people to be pastors and teachers. So there are lots of great things about religious texts, but there are some problems with them as well. Okay, and you can have a quick nosy through that. When it comes to your part B, it's really human experience. So you're dealing with issues of morality, and I would say things like same-sex marriage, abortion are the big ones that you can focus on, and how some Christians are really against it and some people are more understanding. But all Christians should follow the example of Jesus, and be compassionate and understanding, and stand with people as they are made in the image of God. Sometimes part B, it talks about reconciliation as well. I think there's a question on it in here somewhere. Oh yes, religion fails to resolve conflict. Well, it's the same sort of principle as to Justin, the dialogue with Trifo. What we try to do is try to bring people together to discuss the different issues that we have. This was seen very much in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, where Protestant Catholics would get together and try to understand each other by discussing. It didn't always bring resolution, but it brought more understanding. So I think that idea of speaking with people and dialoguing with people is so important. They do it even now in restorative justice, where if you steal somebody's phone off them, instead of sending you to prison, you bring you together with the person that you've stolen it from. So the idea is for you to discuss and understand the other person's view, because often Christians are seen as intolerant, and against everything. And that's, well, you know from me, that's not the case. All right. So just remember, guys, part A is, part A is the short wee bit. It's only about 15 minutes, okay? And you have to make a link somehow to something that Mrs. Shannon has taught you. Okay? If it asked you something about, well, it'll be about controversy and all those things. And then part B is a wee bit longer, which has human experience in it. So that's Synoptic. Hope that helps a wee bit. If you need anything, just send me a wee message. But don't sweat it. Listen, just do what you can. And I'll see you in the morning. If you want to call down beforehand, please do. All right? Love you. Bye.